Where does Scripture endorse the idea that everyone needs to know what I think about everything? I will say things to a screen in a way and in a tone I would not say if I was looking at a person face to face. As followers of Jesus, we answer the courtesy call. Courtesy is a high value to us because of the kind of God we serve. In fact, the word courteous actually comes from an old English idea of how you should behave in a royal court. The idea is that a servant of the king should be held to a higher standard when it came to his behavior. And so, followers of King Jesus go way past common courtesy when they deal with difficult people. We answer the courtesy call with intentionality and consistency, because consideration is a determination. I need to say that again. Consideration is not something you drift towards. Consideration is a determination. So let us decide now how we're going to overcome the impulse in the days ahead to say, well, so what? Me first. 3 things we can decide we're going to do. Here's number 1. We will choose kind over speak my mind. You heard when you were a child, the sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. What nonsense. We all know words can be especially painful. And I would argue the popularity of social media platforms has exponentially increased the proliferation of rude and hurtful words. I remember a time when it was not like it is now, when we didn't have the platforms and we couldn't just spout whatever we thought about everything. And here's what I know, that I will say things to a screen in a way and in a tone I would not say if I was looking at a person face to face. And so could I just ask you, because maybe some of you use these platforms quite a bit, where does Scripture endorse the idea that everyone needs to know what I think about everything? Courteous people are not always blurting their hot sports opinions. Sometimes silence really is golden. In Romans 14, there's tension in the church. Some think we can eat meat offered to idols. Some think that would violate my conscience. Some think we should hold special holy days. Others say, I don't think they're that important. I mean, these are genuine topics of controversy and tension. And you know what Paul says? He says, whatever you think about those things, keep it between yourself and God. The whole world does not need to know what you think about everything. Now, there is a tension here. And the tension is that being courteous does not justify failing to be courageous in the presence of lies. Because right after verse 5, Paul wrote that love is not rude. The very next verse, love takes no pleasure in evil, but rejoices over the truth. As disciples of Jesus, we believe that truth is real. We believe that hate is wrong. And we believe it's possible to be truthful without being hateful. But it's not easy. Only one man has ever lived that was always in every moment full of grace and truth. Which means Jesus was always courageous and Jesus was never discourteous. So the question you and I must ask ourselves is, can I speak the truth right now in love? Can I speak the truth in love? I've told this story before, but a few years ago when my father was beginning his dementia journey, and I've told you, my father began because of that disease. A very difficult man. He could be gruff and unkind. And one day he had been especially rude to my wife, Jamie. And I was frustrated. And I was talking to the person that supervised the place where he was staying in memory care. And I said, the next time he acts that way, I feel like I just need to let him know he's got to stop it. And I need to be firm and bold. What do you think? And she said, oh, it'll make you feel good, but it won't do any good. And I realized in that moment that the Lord was saying to me, you don't need to speak that truth because you're not in a place where you can speak it in love. And the Spirit reminded me in that moment the words from James chapter 1, verse 20. Human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. A commitment to righteousness is modeled by kindness. So look at this scripture with me from Ephesians 4. Let everything, not most of the things, not some of the things, let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Can you say that about most of the posts you read these days? He goes on, get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other. In other words, when you speak your mind, make sure you have the mind of Christ. This is a determination. This is a decision. This is a choice. In the weeks ahead, you're going to have moments where something's going to want to blurt right out of your mouth, and you don't have to let that happen. You can be kind instead of choosing to speak your mind.